everybody, I'm Jim Hendrick, along with Dick Crippen, here on the banks of the Marine Stadium in Miami, Florida, for race number 1 of 12 of the HFC Hydroplane Series 1990. This one, the Budweiser Unlimited Regatta. This is the tightest course on the circuit at 1 2/3 miles. Salt water could affect the turbines, but I don't think so, Dick Crippen, the way they were qualifying this past week.
Well, that's true, but you have to remember they qualify individually. The boats are out there alone. They can choose their lanes. They go anywhere they want. They don't have to worry about the spray coming off the other boats, and it's really the salt water getting into the turbine engine that we get concerned about. But we've had record speeds out here, specifically between the Miss Budweiser and, of course, the Miss Circus Circus. So I think we can look for that battle to shape up as we go to the rest of the racing today.
Let's find out how they're shaping up down in the pits. Let's go down to Mark Spencer. Mark?
Thanks a lot, Jim. Competition along pit row has been fierce the last 2 days, and we haven't even started the first heat yet. The course record in Miami coming into this event was 136 miles an hour, set last year by Jim Kropfeld in the Miss Budweiser. Well, we've had a seesaw battle in qualifying this year. Tommy Deeth got it all started in the Miss Budweiser with a 140-mile-an-hour run. Chip Hanauer in the Circus Circus answered at 141 miles an hour. And then on Friday evening, just before closing, Deeth came out and ran a historic 145.9 miles an hour. A number none of us thought anybody could top. But Hanauer had something up his sleeve. On Saturday morning, with ideal conditions, the Miss Circus Circus went 146.6 miles an hour. That's a full 10 miles an hour faster than Kropfeld went last year in the Budweiser. On the surface, this is shaping up as a two-boat race between the Circus Circus and the Miss Budweiser, but don't be so sure. There's a couple of other fast turbines in the pits just waiting to strike, the Winston and the Jif Presents Mr. Pringles. And here in the salt water at Miami, if the turbines have problems like they usually do, there's two piston-powered boats, the Miss Madison and the Oh Boy Oberto. In Heat 1A, we're going to get a thriller right off the bat. The Budweiser has drawn the Circus Circus. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Mark. And now let's check the weather for today's race, Dick.
All right, Jim, we're looking at a temperature of 86 degrees, winds out of the southeast at 10. Seas are 1 to 3 feet, but of course, in this confined area, it's pretty calm.
So the fastest race boats in the world are set to go. There's one missing because of an unfortunate fire yesterday.
That's right, and it happened during the qualifying run, and we had an opportunity to talk with Mark Evans, who was driving the boat.
We were just going out for a qualification attempt. We put some nitrous to the thing, used it hitting my start, used it coming out of the turn. When we come down this corner, she slowed way down. So I went to start it up. She just almost fired, shut down. About that time, he said there was a little smoke rolling out. So just about that time, I saw it coming around my eyes, so I popped the hatch, unbuckled my suit, and proceeded to get out. When I did get out, there was flames there in the shrouds, and when I reached back in to hit the fire bottle, it went ahead and went off. It boom, that's when the flames really went.
And we'll have all the action of race number 1 of the HFC Hydroplane Series 1990 after this timeout. Jim Hendrick along with Dick Crippen back here in Miami. And now it's time for Performance Stores nationally. Call this number.
Doug, take us to school. Unlimited Racing 101, a basic class in hydroplane hull design.
Well, a little unlike your boats you may have at home that travel either through the water or skip along on the top, these 6,000-pound monsters are designed to fly on a cushion of high-pressure air, only touching on the aft ends of the forward pontoons or sponsons and about half of the propeller. This makes them much more like an airplane than a boat at speed. Traveling at 200 miles an hour, these beasts enter a corner and have to be turned and controlled with a fin that sticks in the water, much like a sailboat might have. But the forces on that fin may approach up to 40,000 pounds when the boat bounces. Accelerating off a corner, a driver must straighten out this beast and control it with only about the area of a man's handkerchief touching the water at any one time.
With the city of Miami in the background, we're getting set to start action. Dick Crippen is with the winningest owner in the history of the sport, Bernie Little. Dick?
Bernie, last season was a great finish for you, of course, and now you have Tommy Deeth for the first time for the whole season.
Yeah, you're right. After 14 years, Tom has never raced on the Miami race course, and to come out in his second lap, set a new course record, it shows you that he's eager, the team's eager, and I'm over-eager. So we're certainly out here to win our 5th World Championship, and we're going to make every effort to do that.
And one of his biggest competitors will be the Circus Circus, driven by last year's National High Point Champion driver, Chip Hanauer.
Certainly everybody's anxious to see what this gentleman is going to do on the course, the driving champion from last year, and that's Chip Hanauer. Chip, I know that was a great relief to get that honor, but there are more to go.
Oh, they are. This is just the beginning. You know, the HFC series is a long, long trail, and all we've done is qualified for one race. So, but I'm anxious to get started.
Another man yesterday anxious to get started, Mark Tate, the rookie out of the limited class. Here's his dad, a very proud father, taking shots of his first qualifying run. He's in the field here today. Speaking of the field, Dick, how's it set up?
Well, in Heat 1A, we have the Miss Budweiser, the U1, Tom Deeth out of Fairhaven, Michigan, the boat owned by Bernie Little. Tom Tomlinson is the owner-rep for the Miss Circus U31. Chip Hanauer, the driver. Jim Kropfeld will be piloting the Winston Eagle, the U10. Steve Woomer, the owner on that boat. And the Oh Boy Alberto, U2. Jim Harvey, the owner. And the rookie driver, Mark Tate, will be behind the wheel. The boats are coming around now, jockeying for position as they get set to take the start. That's an important part of the race.
Well, I think the outside's the best place to be here at Miami. This is a real tight race course, so the outside lane is going to be a faster way around here.
Well, he wanted the outside lane, but instead he gets the middle spot, and he is now the lead boat coming up, the Miss Budweiser, Tommy Deeth. There goes the cannon, and we're off on heat number 1A.
And we have a boat missing, Dick. Jim Kropfeld's Winston Eagle did not start, did not answer the starting gun as they dive down to corner number 1.
Obviously, Deeth now on the outside rim is going to try to hold his boat in there and hold it in the lead. Now, remember, the boat that is off the pins, in this case sitting in a second lane, has got to travel a little bit further than the boat on the inside. Tom Deeth now with very good speed down the backstretch, that scoop coming over the front. And Jim, that's kind of another one of those ideas on how they can avoid salt problems in the turbine.
If salt water happens to get in that scoop, it gets into the engine because it's spinning, churning like butter. It'll separate the water from the salt. The salt crystallizes, starting breaking blades on the turbine engines, and they're down in the water.
So their hope is that with that long scoop in there, the water will heat up enough that the salt will separate and drop out in the scoop instead of in the engine. Still on the inside, the pink and white boat of Chip Hanauer getting a little bit light as they came down into corner number 1 again. On the outside, it is the red and white boat of Bernie Little's out of Lakeland, Florida, the Miss Budweiser. So that's the way they're stacking up into lap number 2. It is the Miss Budweiser, the first place boat. Second place is the Miss Circus.
This Miss Budweiser, just under 30 feet long, saw her qualify, or actually test a few weeks ago in Seattle. She has a sister ship, a lot like it, but just a little longer, weighing 5,300 pounds. They opted for the lighter boat here on this mile and 2/3 course.
So far, that lighter boat seems to be paying off. They have a fast speed in lap number 2 of 131.652 miles per hour. The record in qualifying was set just short of 147 miles per hour by the pink and white Miss Circus. Both the Miss Budweiser and this boat, the Miss Circus, had been in wind tunnels, but even the speeds are surprising guys like Chip Hanauer.
If you would have told me as early as 3 years ago that you could go over 140 miles into Miami, I'd say you were crazy. I'm just amazed that we could go not only over 140, but 147. I'm flabbergasted.
Chip Hanauer and the Miss Circus now in second place. Back in third place, the rookie driver, Mark Tate out of Michigan. Mark driving Oh Boy Alberto, just getting a good feel for the course.
And here's your leader from Fairhaven, Michigan. And that, of course, is Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser. Second place is your Circus. Miss Circus driven by the veteran Chip Hanauer. Speaking of Mark Tate, he's a powerboat driver since the age of 13, this rookie here today.
His proud father, who we showed you standing on the dock taking home videos of that qualifying run yesterday, was a powerboat racer himself, driving some limited hydroplanes, so he's pretty proud of his son, seeing him come along like this. I talked briefly with Mark yesterday, and we were talking about Charlie Dunn when he moved up for the first time into Unlimiteds, comparing the vibration of the ride in the smaller boats to the pillow-like ride of the unlimited hydroplanes.
They're around lap 4 now, and they'll have 2 more laps to go, Dick Crippen, and a pretty comfortable lead for this young man, Tommy Deeth. And actually, we have 2 Michigan drivers in here, Tommy Deeth and Mark Tate, 2 of the 3.
Miss Budweiser now back up to 131.332 miles per hour. That speed holding very solid for that boat. A good job at driving by Tommy Deeth, who knows this course well because he raced it many times in the limited hydroplanes. Now Deeth has moved to the outside of the third place boat and is about to put Mark Tate, the rookie driver, down a lap on this mile and 2/3 course. Look at the blazing speed of the Miss Budweiser, having no problem at all with the salt water in Miami.
Mark Tate, very wisely as a rookie, getting his feet wet here today. He don't want to push that equipment until he gets to know it. They wear these boats just like a piece of armor. They have to fit it like a suit. They have to feel part of it, or they're not safe.
Lap number 5, 130.204 miles per hour for the Miss Budweiser, right behind, just a matter of miles per hour off the boat that set the qualifying record at just a tick short of 147 miles per hour, the Miss Circus. And now it is Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser in total command of this three-boat field. Tom Deeth looking now to the judges' stand. He'll look for the checkered flag to come out. He is looking to start 1990 with a win in the Miss Budweiser and also to defeat the Salt of the saltwater course in Miami, Florida. The checkered flag is out, and here he comes home.
400 points for first place, 300 for second, 225 for third, and of course, points are all accumulated, and only the 5 top point getters will run for the money here today.
Tom Deeth starting the season just right. Here's second place, going to the Miss Circus Chip Hanauer. The boat, of course, based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and Seattle. And he is going to be happy with the second place. We'll see how his strategy changes later on in the day.
Third place goes to the young rookie Mark Tate, and a very creditable showing.
Here's your final finish for Heat 1A, the Miss Budweiser, the Miss Circus, Oh Boy Alberto, and Winston Eagle did not start. Let's go to the pits and Jim Hendrick.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bernie, you get the first one right out of the box.
Well, if you don't win the first one, you sure can't win them all. So where else to be but out in front?
All right, Tommy, fastest lap was 131. That was lap 2. You seemed that you were in competition pretty good there.
Yeah, the boat's really trimmed just right. The water was sloppy because there was 4 of us out there, and you start running into your own wakes, but the Miss Budweiser ran beautiful.
Did you pick lane 2, or were you forced there?
No, I just kind of decided to take what was given me. I wanted a good, clean shot at the clock. That's what I was most concerned about.
We'll continue with more of the HFC Hydroplane Series coming up right after this timeout.
Pringles. Once you pop fresh, you can't stop. You hear 'em, you grab 'em, you want 'em, you crunch 'em, you crunch 'em. Once you pop Pringles, you can't stop, I can't stop, no, I can't stop, can't stop. Pringles.
Beautiful day, a great crowd here in Miami, Florida. Dick Crippen along with Jim Hendrick, and down in the pit area, Mark Spencer taking a look at the changes for this year's racing.
The Unlimited Racing season runs from June to November this year, but actually some of the best competition is held from December through May. Ronnie, during the winter, if you snooze, you lose.
Oh, that's right, Mark. Right now, we have to be prepared 100% for racing, and the homework has to be done back in the shop. That's when we do our wind tunnel testing, and we have our own engine test cell so we can run our own engines and make sure that the horsepower is where we want it. But really, the work has to be done at home, and by the time we get to a race site, we have to be prepared. We come with 6 engines that are all dyno-tuned on our dyno, and some of the aerodynamic changes we've made to the hull now this last winter that we learned in the wind tunnel is really proving off for straightaway speed. So we're very happy and looking forward to a very successful season for the Miss Budweiser.
We've been designing a new, radically designed Miss Circus. It has 3 wings. It has one in the front, one in the middle, one in the rear. Boats in the past have really just had 1 or possibly 2 wing sections to support the boat, so we think we can get a lot better control of the race vehicle itself. So we think that we're going to support the boat better. We're going to support it aerodynamically rather than hydrodynamically.
Now we're ready for Heat 1B Metal Axe U3. Ed Cooper Sr. and Jr., the owners, Mitch Evans, the driver, George Woods Jr. in the seat of Mr. Pringles for the first time, and the only turbine in the field for this heat. Miss Madison will be driven by Mike Hansen. Bob Hughes represents the city of Madison, Indiana. Thor Racing U7, Al Thorson, the owner, co-owner and driver Jerry Hopp.
Once again, the boat's coming around the turn and looking up to the start line. They must be going at their top speed as the nose of the boat hits the line and the final second of the clock ticks off. They're on a beautiful course to start. It looks like Mr. Pringles on the middle lane has got a slight advantage. That is the only turbine boat in the field, as Jim stated earlier. So now George Woods Jr. will try to take advantage of that extra speed his boat has and get the advantage going into the corner, which he does. A good turn for Mr. Pringles, the multicolored boat on the course as he goes to the backstretch. George Woods Jr. doing a fine job of piloting a rather unique hood or cowling on the back of that boat. They have no air intake on the front. They're sucking it in through the back.
It's an oversized canopy hoping to deflect the water drops that contain salt that could hurt the turbine engine.
Good run for that boat as you see him crashing through, literally taking a little bit of a hop coming out of the final turn onto the front straightaway to complete lap number 1. This multicolored boat, Jim presents Mr. Pringles, and it is based out of Seattle, Washington. George Woods Jr. is the driver. The boat trying to come up on the outside, blue and white in color, is the Wholesome Miss Madison. Mike Hansen driving that boat for the people of Madison, Indiana.
No, it's the Mr. Pringles in first, Wholesome Miss Madison in second, and third is the Miss Metalax, and fourth, the U7, as we are now on the back chute of lap number 2.
117.428 miles per hour for the lead boat. This is Mitch Evans in Metalax. These boats have been coming on stronger and stronger. These are the piston boats we refer to. In this field, we have 3 pistons against 1 turbine engine, and the turbine engine right there on the Jim Presents Mr. Pringles is dominating. And this is the first time for George Woods in a turbine boat.
The longevity of the turbine engine is one of the big advantages. Of course, it has a much more horsepower than the reciprocating type airplane engine. Of course, here in Miami, it has a little bit of a disadvantage because of the salt water.
But certainly the salt water at this point has not been bothering the Jim Presents Mr. Pringles.
Here's your second place boat, Miss Metalax, and third, as they go by the stands, is the Wholesome Miss Madison.
Mitch Evans doing a good job at driving, but this still is the boat that is dominating in the field, as we said, the only turbine boat. This is the U7, 4th place now, running in the field, not getting quite up on plane like he'd like. A little bit too much surface of the hydroplane in the water. In the background, you can see the Jim Presents Mr. Pringles shooting by on a turn. Jerry Hoppe, a Vietnam veteran, he has really struggled to get this boat into the field. He has made it, and I'm sure if it's like last year, better things are coming for this team.
If this boat and this team could get sponsors, they would probably go turbine and really be competitive.
That's one thing they would like very much to be able to do. It looks like he has a very rich mixture in there right now, a little bit of black smoke coming off of the stacks of his engine. No problem at all with salt water, wind, or anything for the Jeff Presents Mr. Pringles. His first time in this boat in competition, and George Woods Jr. is giving a good ride to the boat for owner Bill Worcester.
That huge, wide cowling will disappear next week in Detroit. They'll go back to the regular size because of fresh water. Problem with the Wholesome Miss Madison. Mike Hansen, with flames coming out, seems to be slowing down right now. And that'll drop him back to 4th and give 3rd to the U7 Thor Racing Team if he doesn't get going, Dick.
This is your lead boat. Jeff Presents Mr. Pringles. No problems for this boat at all. George Woods taking his first ride in competition in this boat. First ride in a turbine boat in competition, as a matter of fact, and doing a good job at it. He is not hitting the speeds that the Miss Budweiser was in the earlier laps, upwards of 130 miles per hour. His fast lap so far has been the first lap, 117.428 miles per hour.
And we're looking at Mitch Evans as we look at his rooster tail coming off of corner number 2 and down the back chute in 2nd place. Looks like a smaller of the boats, but it is 6,700 pounds, one of the heavier boats, 13 feet wide and just under 30 feet in length, with a Allison aircraft engine that was used in the fighter planes in World War II.
And it's with that engine and several others like it that the boats became known as thunderboats. With the turbine engines like we're seeing here, you don't get that roar, that big thunder, but you sure do get the speed. George Woods Jr. is taking advantage of it today.
Some of the reciprocating guys that say, hey, we don't want to go turbine, they call these the whoosh machines or the vacuum cleaners.
Well, he's sure cleaning up on the course today. No problem at all for George Woods Jr. in the Jim Presents Mr. Pringles. Salt water plays to the disadvantage of the turbines. The 1 2/3 course also plays to the disadvantage because of the acceleration factor. But right now, George Woods Jr. will be happy to come in first on his first drive in a turbine boat just to get it out of the way and now concentrate on the rest of the field. Here's the checkered flag. Mr. Pringles coming home the winner, George Woods Jr. in Heat 1B.
2nd place will go to Mitch Evans in the Middle-Ax as he comes around the corner. This team last year won at Tri-Cities, set a qualifying lap of 141.3, which was broke the old world record for a lap of the piston-powered Unlimited.
Coming in third place, Thor Racing Team, Jerry Hopp out of the state of Washington, and I think that team's going to be happy the boat finished in third place this time around.
Here's the scoreboard for Heat 1B. Mr. Pringles, Middle-Ax, Thor Racing. Miss Madison did not finish. Let's go to the winner's circle, Mark Spencer.
George, your first big win in a turbine. What did you learn?
I'll tell you what, having the turbine out there is really nice. The guys for the Jeff Presents Mr. Pringles team really worked good. The boat's a little bit hard on its nose, and it's hitting hard on these rollers, but by the time we come to the final heat, if we're in it, I think we're going to be prepared. Really like the turbine. It's easy to drive, it's smooth, and it doesn't give you the feeling that it wants to break. In this kind of water here, where it's rough like that and you're standing on it and hitting on the nose, it's really tough on the engine and on the equipment, and it seems to be handling very well as far as equipment is concerned.
We'll be back with more of the HFC Hydroplane Series Heats 2A and 2B in the Budweiser Regatta from Miami.
Back here in Miami, there's a lull in the action as we await Heats 2A and 2B. Now let's go down to the pits and take a close look at one of the racing teams, Mr. Pringles.
The Pringles team is way ahead of where it was last year. We have a new driver with George Woods, and we expect a lot out of him. He's a very talented boy. Danny High has been doing an excellent job off season with the renovating the boat, and we look forward to the World Championship this year.
Well, my right-hand man is John Walters. He basically handles what I don't want to handle and takes care of the hull for me. We discuss the setup on the hull, and he's basically my hull technician. And my second right-hand man is Tracy Bravold. He takes care of the engines for us, makes the thing run. Scott Smith is our team manager, handles some of the paperwork that I don't want to handle, and takes care of all our electronic equipment. And assisting John and Tracy are Scott Rainey and Clayton Fasell, two excellent crew guys, keep the thing running for me.
Now, this particular race is run on a very unique 1 2/3 course, but it's also in a unique facility, the Miami Marine Stadium. Mark Spencer talked to the man that runs the stadium.
They've been racing unlimited hydroplanes in Miami Marine Stadium since the early 1970s. Victor, what does it take to get the stadium ready for competition?
It takes a lot of effort by a lot of people to take care of the race course. Everything has to be done for the racers and the spectators here.
About 15 seconds to go till the start of Heat 2A, and here is the competition. Miss Budweiser, Oh Boy Oberto, Middle-Ax, and Mr. Pringles as they come down toward the starting line.
Again, the Miss Budweiser. Tom Deeth has taken lane number 2. On the inside of him to his left is the Middle-Ax boat, Mitch Evans. They come down and take the start perfectly. Budweiser will try to go to the outside immediately and take over control. Jeff Presents Mr. Pringles is the boat in lane number 3. On the far outside, it is Oh Boy Oberto with the rookie driver, Mark Tate. Into the first corners, Miss Budweiser has taken the lead now. Tom Deeth has taken command one more time. This driver out of Fairhaven, Michigan, a former Gold Cup winner. There you can see the aerial shot of this course, and you can see the distance he has over the second place boat, Mr. Pringles, George Woods Jr., the driver.
A 3-year veteran of unlimited racing. He was Rookie of the Year in this sport back in 1987. George Woods, a hard-charging racer, but he's got to catch this man, Tommy Deeth.
Tom Deeth really having a great day out here. 124.753 miles per hour. You can tell right off the bat that he's not feeling the pressure he felt in the first heat from Chip Hanauer in the Circus. We told you earlier, this is the first day of actual competition for George Woods Jr. in a turbine. He's not going to get wild because that's what happens when you get a little bit loose in the water. That boat, the Miss Budweiser, getting a little bit high. Tommy Deeth feeling the boat as you really have to do. You don't have time to think, gosh, it's getting loose, I better get off it. You've got to react.
Mr. Pringles now in second place with George Woods. You know, going back to the Miss Budweiser, this boat he's running today was built last year brand new. This one right here, 1989 version. The one that was built in '88 that he won the driver championship in, he prefers, and you may see him race that in Detroit.
There's the Oh Boy Alberto passing up on the Metalax boat. That's Mark Tate. Again, this is a rookie driver. This is only the second race that he has had in this boat. He qualified the boat yesterday, and that was the first time he had ever been in an unlimited hydroplane. A good shot of that huge air scoop over the top of the Miss Budweiser as it comes right at you. Down the front straight now, it is the Oh Boy Alberto, the lead boat, back in third place. A good job of driving by this young man, handling it a little bit of the afterthrow of the boats ahead of him.
Rough ride now so far for the Metalax. Mitch Evans, you can hear the engine not running quite like she did in an earlier heat. As we look at our leader coming off the apexes of corners number 3 and 4 and down toward the finish line.
Good ride again for Tom Deeth. Has had no problem at all with the salt water, but neither has George Woods Jr. Both of these boats, turbines, both with extremely different cowlings on them, trying to take off the effects of the salt in the water. Mitch Evans having a very solid day of running. This is a great shot, looking right down the tunnel of the Miss Budweiser as she comes through the turn, gets a little bit loose. Tom Deeth backs it off just enough to put it back down into the water, hits the accelerator again, and that turbine responds 121.164 miles per hour, meaning he has a very consistent run going.
124.753 mile an hour the first lap. Fastest lap, and now he's just kind of slow it down, save the equipment, because the next time this boat makes an appearance, it'll be in the checkered flag winner-take-all final.
And of course, this time around, he's not being pushed by his old nemesis, Chip Hanauer, who won the first heat out here today. He's just kind of laying in wait, I think. George Woods Jr., meanwhile, I'm sure, with as well as this boat is running today, the Chip presents Mr. Pringles, he has got his designs on some final feature events he would like to see happen. But the Miss Budweiser has been the boat to watch since the start of this regatta today in Miami, Florida. A good job. Tom Deeth just absolutely powers the boat around. I referred to the fact earlier that Tom, when he drove the smaller hydroplanes, drove this course many, many times. He used to live in Florida, up around the Tampa Bay area in St. Petersburg, so he knows this race course very, very well.
Lots of limited water has gone under his stern before he moved up to the big ones. His brother, Roger Deeth, also was an unlimited pilot. His dad, Al Deeth, also was an unlimited driver.
That is a family of drivers, no question. And here's another family of drivers, Mark Tate, who is out driving this time in his first day of competition in unlimited racing. But as we told you earlier, his dad and mom are standing on the shoreline. His dad was also a driver of hydroplanes.
And his grandfather, he's a third generation.
So a little bit of generational unlimited hydroplane racing. That sounds like it should be the start of a brand new series on television. But at any rate, right now we'll concentrate on the lead boat as they get ready to look at that checkered flag. There you can see the Metalax boat is to the outside of the course, letting the faster boat through on the inside. A little good sportsmanship by Mitch Evans.
Very wise driving by Mitch Evans, whose dad, Norm Evans, drove back in the late 60s, early 70s.
And it was Mitch Evans' brother who had that fire on the boat that we alluded to at the beginning of the program yesterday. So he is standing on the shorelines now, giving a little extra moral boost to his brother, who is running very fine in the Metalax boat. The Miss Budweiser, Tom Deeth. He is doing an exceptional job of driving this boat, and there you can see them getting the checkered flag as the crew stands up and gives him a cheer that he doesn't hear, but I'm sure he feels the spirit of it inside the canopy.
2 for 2, and here's your second place boat, Mr. Pringles, who now has 700 points, 400 for first, 300 for this second place finish. He'll make the final, George Woods Jr.
And Jim, I think we have to point out again, the turbine boats are not having any problem at all with the salt water. And of course, last year and the years previous to that, that's all they had. Problem after problem.
And the third place finish for the rookie Mark Tate and Oh Boy Alberto, picking up 225 points. He'll make the final here today in Miami.
I think everybody is impressed with his driving also. Miss Budweiser first, followed by Mr. Pringles, Oh Boy Alberto, and Metalax. Let's go down and talk to the winner.
Tommy, with an early start like that, you had to back off, and that would be dangerous in the final heat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't do that in the final heat because somebody'd be right on the money and you'd be in deep trouble when you got down to the first turn. So, but you know, with the salt water the way it is, you almost have to go when they start going by you. You got to go. You really have to stay with the group, otherwise you get your hole closes up.
So what are you going to do for the final when it comes to that? Because you know you're going against that Circus.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we're just going to do the best we can. The Miss Budweiser is running really great today, and I know Bernie wants to win this final, and I sure do too.
We'll have more racing from the HFC Hydroplane Series from Miami, the Budweiser Regatta, coming up in just a moment.
There's been nothing like it since Camelot. Excalibur Hotel Casino, the world's largest resort.
The Excalibur Hotel also supports the Unlimited Hydroplane Hall of Fame and Museum. To become a charter member or for more information, write this address. And remember,
Opening June 19th at 10 a.m. Excalibur Hotel Casino. It will take your breath away.
Welcome back to Miami, Florida. Great day for racing. Dick Crippen along with Jim Hendrick and Mark Spencer. A special decal on the side of the Miss Budweiser salutes Darrell Gwynn, the drag racer who was tragically injured over in England. He is paralyzed with spinal injuries. He is in rehabilitation, and we have a message for Darrell from all of the fans who know and love him. He is from the Miami area, so all the crews got together to say this. And we remind you that Darrell is in with the Miami Project, a great project to cure paralysis. And there you see the address. If you'd like to help out, your help would be welcome. Back to racing now as we get ready to start Heat 2B. The Hulsett Miss Madison, Thor Racing Team, Winston Eagle, and the Miss Circus Circus. On the outside to the left of your screen, the pink and white boat, the Miss Circus Circus. This is the boat that set the qualifying record at 146, just short of 147 miles per hour. And at the start of Heat 2B, it is Chip Hanauer who takes over the field.
The bright red boat on the inside, Jim Kropfeld getting a new ride this year in the Winston Eagle owned by Steve Woomer. This is a Lucero-built hull. It's experimental. They're going to try to make it. It's got a very short stern, and it'll have to be proven if this type of hull can compete with this type of boat, the Miss Circus Circus.
A great job at driving, and there you can see the Winston Eagle, Jimmy Kropfeld, who certainly knows this Miami course very, very well. Jim out of Cincinnati, Ohio. They had problems getting the boat up on plane, but it looks like it's doing okay now. Definitely, this one is doing fine. The Miss Circus Circus running without the pressure of Tom Deeth and the Miss Budweiser in this heat. The two boats were separated when it came to second heat action. There you see the Miss Winston Eagle. Jim Kropfeld still fighting it a little bit, but getting it looser in the water. And when it's as loose as this boat is, then it's going to be flying, which is exactly what the Miss Circus Circus is doing. Again, we remind you that Chip Hanauer has never won. In all of his racing, he has never won on this 1 2/3 course in Miami, Florida.
This Miss Circus Circus won in Detroit last year. This boat here, of course, brand new, and a brand new driver for Steve Woomer, and of course, crew chief Jim Lucero.
Lucero's one of the winningest boat builders in unlimited hydroplane racing. He's got a new idea that he's trying on this boat with little tab fins off the back. This boat, third place, very happily so. Looks like he's going to finish either third or fourth in this race right now. He's holding very steady.
Hulsett Miss Madison, scheduled to start this heat, was running at the 1-minute gun, then went down. They've had ignition problems, so we're down to a 3-boat race. As we said, this boat won in Detroit. Then, in Syracuse, the boat was literally destroyed. Literally destroyed. But what a team of Dave Milwaukee and that crew put it back together. They came back and won in Seattle and Las Vegas, and Chip Hanauer took the driving championship because of that.
There's again a great shot of the Steve Woomer-owned boat, Winston Eagle, and he's having no problem at all negotiating on the course. And yet I can tell you that's one of the things they've been working on the boat, breaking the back end out of it so that they can turn the boat a little bit faster.
22 career victories for the driver Jim Kropfeld, who takes over in this new innovation called the Winston Eagle. Why not bring your proven product out of Seattle and really be ready to compete? Why experiment this early in the season? Owner Steve Woomer tells us from the pits exactly why.
A bold move by Steve Woomer to go with brand new technology here at the first race of the season. Steve, the decision to go with the new boat early on.
Well, I think it's something we have to do. We're trying to reduce the chance of a blowover, and that's what this design is basically to do, is to make it a little safer. Unfortunately, we'll probably try to push it to make it go faster, but you know, you gotta make the move sometimes. You don't get anywhere if you don't take some chances, and that's what we're doing.
So far today, the boat has performed well in the second heat, and there you can see again, they have narrowed down that back end, put a little bit of a fin off either side, and they're hoping that that will break loose enough from the water that it will not go over backwards, but at the same time, they'll be able to break the prop out of the water a little bit more and have better turning. No problems at all with this boat. This is the boat coming around now for the checkered flag here at the Marine Stadium in Miami. Second place does go to Jim Kropfeld. That's got to be a tremendous boost for that crew in the pits. Third place now goes to the Thor Racing Team boat. Jerry Hoppe now has 2 third places on the day, and as we told you, the Miss Madison did not start.
So your scoreboard, Miss Circus Circus, Winston Eagle, Thor Racing, Miss Madison did not start. Let's go to the winner's circle.
Chip Hanauer, 120-mile-an-hour fast lap. Something tells me that you're saving the best for the last.
Yeah, that heat really didn't ask us to push the Circus too hard. We didn't have any other turbine boats. So you're right, we have to save the best for last because that's where, the money's been. That's where the Budweiser is going to go quick.
Well, according to Chip Hanauer, the best is about to come. The final heat in the HFC Hydroplane Series opener for 1990, the Budweiser Regatta from Miami. Welcome back to Miami, Florida, where it is the calm before the storm. The storm being the final race of the day, the winner-take-all race for the unlimited hydroplanes in this first stop of 1990. Now, as you recall, Heat 1A was won by the Miss Budweiser, that boat beating the Miss Circus Circus, driven by Chip Hanauer. So Tommy Deeth has a win in his pocket at this point. Second heat was won by the Mr. Pringles. George Woods Jr., driving for the first time in a turbine boat, takes a win, so he's in good position. Coming back in Heat 2A, the Miss Budweiser with Tom Deeth at the wheel wins over the Mr. Pringles. Are you keeping track of this? Finally, the Circus Circus boat wins in Heat 2B. That's the way it sets up going into the final, and of course we have our 2 piston-powered boats, the Metalax driven by Mitch Evans, and we have the new driver in the Oh Boy Alberto. That would be Mark Tate out of Michigan. So here's the lineup for our final field. We have the Miss Budweiser, the U1 with Tom Deeth. Along with that boat, we're going to have the match, Miss Circus Circus, U31, Chip Hanauer, who's never won on this course, George Woods Jr. driving his first championship heat in a turbine in the Mr. Pringles, the Metalax, which has been very consistent all day, Mitch Evans driving that boat, Oh Boy Alberto, a brand new driver, first ever championship heat, Mark Tate driving that boat, and Jerry Hoppe, the veteran, in Thor Racing U7.
We are less than 20 seconds away from the race as the Budweiser takes the white outside. Off his left hip is the Circus Circus, and sneaking up is Mr. Pringles on lane number 1.
All turbine-powered boats up in the lead positions right now as they come down and try to get the nose of their hydroplanes on the line as the final second ticks off. Let's hear the countdown. There is the gun firing, and there they go. Miss Budweiser, Tom Deeth, getting out into the lead, but I'll tell you what, Chip Hanauer on the inside is not letting him get away from him. Chip Hanauer has now moved into position, takes the shorter course and takes the lead. Chip Hanauer getting a little bit loose as they come around the first turns on this final championship heat. But there goes the Miss Budweiser again. Tommy Deeth trying to match him out in a drag race down the back straight.
Almost side by side here on lap number 1, the back chute, and it looks like Circus Circus gets a little loose as he takes the lead again.
He does get loose, and that's the way that Chip Hanauer likes to power that boat. Now watch the Miss Budweiser because she's hitting a little bit of rough water on the outside. The Miss Budweiser trying to catch, starts to get a little height coming out, but gets it back down into the water. Chip Hanauer in the Circus Circus, good control, and watch the Miss Budweiser starting again loose, gets very high out of the water. It looked like Tommy Deeth backed off it just a hair. As he did, it was power on for the Miss Circus Circus. Chip Hanauer now has himself about a 4 to 5 boat length lead, and he is going to try to take command.
He has taken command now here at lap number 2 and hitting 130 mile an hour, and right about there, and boy, I'll tell you, these guys are really honking.
You can see the spread of the first and second place as we look down from the helicopter view just a few moments ago. A great ride for Chip Hanauer. Still tends to be a little bit loose in the boat. Tommy Deeth back on it now, feeling a little bit more confident. The boat got light on him for just a few moments. He got off it to bring it back down. 128.297 miles per hour lap speed for the Miss Circus Circus.
If 100 feet separate the first and second boat, that's only 1 second. They can travel the length of a football field in just about 1.1 seconds. So, it's closer than you think.
Still, Chip Hanauer is the dominant force in this one. This, again, is the driver who has not won on this course before. He's got to be thinking at about this point in the race, what could go wrong? Let's hope it doesn't. Let's see what he does.
We've just got word that the old boy Alberta with Mark Tate, who has just been lapped by the Circus Circus, is not a factor in this race. He's been disqualified for cutting off to Mr. Pringles just prior to the start.
You can see the problem that Tommy Deeth now has because he's having to pass traffic and go very far to the outside to avoid the wake action of the boats in front of him. And some of those boats are a lot slower, causing a lot bigger wake. He's going way to the outside, trying to keep his speed as high as he possibly can. He's now in the wake of the lead boat, the Miss Circus Circus.
People ask me, what is the Rooster Tail? Take a look. 200 feet back, 50 feet in the air. Only half the prop is in the water. The other half kicks the water that high, and that can be used as a weapon. You got to be careful. Don't get in the other guy's Rooster Tail.
Now, earlier in the day, had Circus Circus had this lead on the Miss Budweiser, he might let up a little bit, figuring both camps are going to try to hold on to their equipment and keep their boats ready for the final heat. But this, in fact, is the final, so there's no holding back. Third place is George Woods Jr. in the Jiff Presents Mr. Pringle. All of the drivers are going for it now, especially this gentleman, Chip Hanauer, in the Miss Circus Circus. He knows that Tom Deeth is perfectly capable of catching him if he slows up one iota. Tom Deeth, meanwhile, watches Chip Hanauer's Rooster Tail, trying to see any indication that Chip Hanauer might make a mistake. So far, he has not.
Chip Hanauer is a hard charger. Whether he's in third place, second place, trying to catch the leader, or if he's out in front, he will not let up.
As light as that boat gets, he stays on it. Look at the tape that's flying off the side of the boat. They tried to put the tape over any crease in the boat. In that case, it's where the cowling comes down and snaps onto the hull of the boat. They've taped it over to try to keep the wind out of there and increase their speed any possible way. Third place, George Woods Jr. There's a good shot of the tape loosening up on the Miss Circus Circus. There's the big checkered flag flying off the Marine Stadium. Coming home the winner, Chip Hanauer, first time ever. That has got to be a thrill for this young man.
Averaging 124.429 mile an hour.
So Chip Hanauer has done it. Second place will go to the Miss Budweiser, Tom Deeth. He had 2 wins coming into the final heat. There's an emotional moment for Chip Hanauer, Dave Vilwalk, the crew chief, all of the crew getting congratulated.
For the fire, for the drive, for pushing hard each time you try, for the hero staying true, for the team for coming through. This blood's for you.
She's won 11 World Championships, her 4th in a row in 1989. Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser.
This blood's for you.
There's been nothing like it since Camelot. Excalibur Hotel Casino, the world's largest resort.
The Excalibur Hotel also supports the Unlimited Hydroplane Hall of Fame and Museum. To become a charter member or for more information, write this address. And remember,
Opening June 19th at 10 a.m. Excalibur Hotel Casino. It will take your breath away.
There's our final results of the first race of 1990. Now let's go down to the winner's dock.
Chip Hanauer, after almost a decade of frustration here in Miami, I think you just evened the score.
Oh, decade. Heck, it's been 15 years I've been coming here, and I've never been able to win, and today it all came together. It feels really good.
Now, you picked the inside lane right from the start, and you maintained it throughout the heat.
Well, Dave and I came up with a strategy. We knew that if we were going to try and be inside, that I had to be at the line. I had to be there, and I didn't get quite the start I wanted, but it was good enough.
Were you surprised that Tommy Deeth in the Miss Budweiser wasn't more of a threat?
Yeah, he was a threat. I think they had troubles handling the run to the first corner. The boat got up in the air pretty bad, and that's where this old girl just does really good. You know, when everybody else is backing off because they won't handle the water, this old pink lady just lays there and goes for me.
Well, she certainly did today, and the winner, Miss Circus Circus, 1100 HFC high points, tied with the Miss Budweiser. Let's take a moment and go down to the pits with Tom Deeth.
Tommy Deeth, in racing, some days are diamonds and some days are stones. Your problem started right at the start.
Yeah, just past the start-finish line, I hit a real bad gust of wind. It was blowing pretty good there. My boat got up, his didn't, and by the time I got it back down, I had him by a boat length or two heading to the first turn, but in order to get it back under control, you had to slow it down a little bit. I was giving it all the canard downforce I could, and it just wouldn't come down. So he got me. That was probably the race right there.
So that's the first stop on our Unlimited Tour for 1990. Next it's Detroit, then Evansville, Indiana, and Madison, Indiana, Syracuse, Tri-Cities, Seattle, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Also on to Kansas City, San Diego, Las Vegas, and we'll wrap it up in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. For more information on unlimited hydroplanes, here's an address you can write to on your screen.
And so the first race of the HFC Hydroplane Series for 1990 is history. And Mark Spencer, what an exciting racing weekend it has been.
All weekend long, Tom Deeth issued the challenge, and every time he had to, Chip answered it. In qualifying, Tom went 145, Chip went 146. Then here on race day in the first heat, Tom had the advantage, but in the final when it counted, Chip was there.
There are other boats that'll soon challenge, I'm sure.
You know, you can't count out Jim Cropfeld and Jim Lucero in the Winston Eagle, a very experienced team. I think when we hit the Gold Cup next weekend in Detroit, they will be a factor.
That is it, the Gold Cup, the APBA Gold Cup, the most coveted cup in powerboat racing history, held next week on the rough Detroit River. We'll be there. On behalf of Mark Spencer, Dick Crippen, I'm Jim Hendrick. So long.